Good day to everyone. I will present civil disturbance management in the Philippines. What is civil disturbance? Civil disturbance are mass acts that arise from civil disobedience antagonistic towards authorities. Civil disturbances are acts that violate public law and order. Kinds of civil disturbances in the Philippines. A. Rallies and demonstrations. Example on is the Black Friday protest regarding the burial of ex-President Marcos on the libingan ng mga bayani. B. Public assembly. Policies in civil disturbance management. The Philippine National Police follow the Code of Conduct for Law Enforcement Officials adopted by the General Assembly of the United Nations, which is strictly necessary and required for the performance of their duty. Public assembly with permit or held in Freedom Park shall not be dispersed if it is peaceful and no violence occurs. The PNP can provide assistance if requested to maintain peace and order, as well as safety of those participating in the conduct of public assemblies. Maximum tolerance is always exercised in dispersal operation. What is maximum tolerance? It refers to the highest degree of restraint that the police, military, and other peacekeeping authorities shall observe during a public assembly or in the dispersal of the same. Guidelines for Civil Disturbance Management (CDM) contingent during rallies or demonstrations. CDM contingent shall be in prescribed uniform without firearm. Any anti-riot device can be used only when public assembly is attended by violence, serious threats of violence, or deliberate destruction of property. Dispersal of public assembly with permit. All public assembly with a permit shall not be dispersed. However, when an assembly becomes violent, the police may disperse such public assembly. Police responses during public assembly. During planning stage. A dialogue with the leaders, organizers to ensure a peaceful holding of public assembly and other details including police escorts. Prepare appropriate security and CDM contingency plans. During initial and peaceful stage. With permit or held in freedom parks, private property. The PNP shall not interfere with the public assembly to ensure public safety. The CDM contingent under the supervision of a police commissioned officer will stay at least 100 meters away when the public assembly is held. Monitor the activities at the public assembly area and respond to any request for police assistance. Without permit or permit has been revoked. If no permit can be shown, verification should be done with the office of the mayor, having the authority where the assembly is held. If the office of the mayor confirms that there is no permit issued, the leaders or organizers are to be informed that they are violating the law, will be asked to disperse peacefully. The PNP shall exhaust all peaceful remedies to persuade the demonstrators to disperse. This may include the involvement of local chief executives, community leaders when available, to intervene in the situation so that dispersal operations could be avoided. Should negotiation fail and the demonstrators refuse to disperse voluntarily and peacefully, thereby causing public inconvenience, CDM contingents may commence dispersal operations. Non-lethal weapons and equipment may be used to suppress violence, to protect lives, and prevent further damage to properties. PNP security elements shall be tactically deployed to provide immediate assistance to CDM contingents. After dispersal operations or post-operation stage, the CDM contingent will be withdrawn from the area. Sufficient police force shall be maintained to ensure peace and order in the area. Guidelines in the use of non-lethal weapons. Shield and truncheon. A truncheon or a baton should be used only to push back demonstrators and not an instrument to strike individuals. If the demonstrators become aggressive, the CDM contingents can use the truncheon as a non-lethal weapon for dispersal, but use the same with caution and due diligence to avoid unnecessary injury. Water cannons may be utilized when demonstrators become unruly and aggressive, forcing troops to fall back to their secondary position. Tear gas and pepper sprays may be utilized to break up formations or groupings of demonstrations who continue to be aggressive and who refuse to disperse despite earlier efforts. Civil Disturbance Management Operations. General Guidelines. PNP units shall not interfere with the holding of a public assembly. To ensure public safety, a CDM contingent will be under the command of a police commissioned officer with the rank of Police Senior Inspector or higher. Currently, Police Captain or higher, to disperse peacefully and vacate the public place. Specific guidelines. When assistance is requested by the leaders or organizers, it shall be imperative for the CDM contingent to perform their duties while observing the rights of demonstrators. Further, the member of the CDM contingent dealing with the demonstrators shall be in prescribed uniform. Any CDM contingent shall not carry any kind of firearms but may be equipped with baton or riot sticks, crash helmets with visor, gas masks, boots, or ankle-high shoes with shin guards. Any anti-riot device shall not be used unless the public assembly is with violence or destruction of property. Maximum tolerance shall always be observed. The organization and membership of the CDM contingents, as well as their deployment and employment, shall be in accordance with the existing PNP rules and regulations. CDM operational task. Isolate the area, secure likely targets, control crowds, establish area control, and neutralize special threats. CDM operational approaches. The CDM contingent must be viewed as a last resort. The role should not be greater than what is necessary. However, this does not mean that the troops deployed should be minimized. The larger the number of troops may prevent situations where the use of excessive force would be unnecessary. A large reserve of troops should be maintained during civil disturbance operation. In selecting an operational approach to a civil disturbance situation, the ground commander and his personnel must adhere to the minimum necessary force principle or the use of force continuum. So the level goes first, officer presence, second, tactical communication, Third, physical control. Fourth, defensive or intermediate weapons. Fifth, disengagement. And the last is lethal force. CDM operational approaches. Effort should be exerted to create the image of a restrained and well-disciplined force, the sole purpose of which is to assist in the restoration of law and order. Further, while the CDM contingent should be visible, any activity which might excite rather than calm should be avoided when possible. Consistent with the controlling principle that he or the CDM contingents must use the minimum necessary force to accomplish his mission. The ground commander shall equip the CDM contingent only with rattan stick, truncheon, baton, shield, Kevlar helmet, and handcuffs. In the use of baton or truncheons, hit the fleshy parts of the body such as arms, torso, legs, thighs. Hitting other parts should be avoided as it may cause serious permanent injuries or death. Protesters that are arrested must be properly restrained or handcuffed using scientific control methods, and thereafter brought safely to the police station for processing. Arrested protesters must not be kicked, punched, or dragged by hair or feet. Whenever appropriate, deploy properly trained and equipped female CDM personnel as frontliners. This happens when the protesters or the person conducting the protest are females. Thank you for watching.